everyone. Good morning. It's Autumn from Awakening the Artist. Welcome, welcome. I'm here to lead another Creative Care for Caregivers event. This is really tailored for moms or parents or even guardians, people like me who spend most of their day caring for a neurodivergent loved one or an individual with a disability, complex needs, however you might identify it. And you find that you can often get left out of the equation because you're spending so much time caring for your loved one. These events are an opportunity to bring some balance back, to spend time focusing on you and your needs because you matter too. And I've learned in my journey with my son that if I don't care for myself and my own mental health and needs, the whole system collapses. We are so valuable as caregivers, and we are worth the time and the attention to feel really empowered, confident, supported, and ready for our role. So this event is pretty exciting. I learned this technique by exploring myself. There are so many people out there teaching bubble art. You can Google it on YouTube or anything. And people have variations of how they create bubbles that, of course, it's 2D, but it looks 3D dimensional, which I thought was really cool. It's a really good challenge for yourself to try this technique. So I want to first explain a little bit of symbolism of bubbles and why it was coming to me. And then we will dive in and I will show you my techniques for creating bubble art. So first, one of the things that my son has taught me through his love of art and through his own personality is to look beneath the surface for symbolism of, objects and situations and things in nature, that they all symbolize another dimensional understanding. So the image of a bubble is, it gets created when you're making soap or in a bath or whatever. It's water and whatever little chemical makes the water stick together, and it's got air inside, right? So we know scientifically what a bubble is. But what about on a deeper level? What might a bubble mean? And as you're creating a bubble, could you tap into that deeper meaning and make it a little bit more, I say, holistic of an approach of this symbol in our life? So first, I Googled a few things. What are the symbolism of bubbles? I had a few that were coming to me, but I also wanted to see what others out there are saying. So one thing I found was the symbolism of being temporary or transient, because obviously bubbles don't last. They come and they go. And they represent a cycle. So if you're, playing with bubbles or whatever, there's that version and then you do another version. So there's cycles that they represent also. Bubbles can represent or symbolize our attachments. So how emotionally attached we are to an experience or a situation, and it can burst anytime. And what we usually feel is our suffering or our pain. It is from the attachment. It's actually not from a loss or a change or a shift. It's from the attachment that we've created within ourselves. Bubbles can also represent the fragileness of our ego, of us wanting something to be a certain way, and it's kind of unpredictable, and the bubble burst your bubble, right? That's an idiom we say. And then also the unpredictability. When you are playing with bubbles, you don't really know where they're going to go, how long they're going to last, what the end result's going to be. And life is often like that. Caregiving can often feel like that, a level of unpredictability. And then there also a symbolism of letting go. That bubble is allowed to float away. You're appreciating the beauty that you experience in the temporary moment, but you're also surrendering control and letting that bubble just do its thing. And lastly, bubbles remind us to be present and to see everything as interconnected. I really, really love that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and tip my screen here and show you what I have. So I have my black drawing paper. I have a white colored pencil. I have some chalk and also oil pastels. You could use either one. We do want the contrast, so you'll notice like the black is going to be with the white and some really bright colors. And then I have a few things to trace. This is actually a coffee mug. It has two different circle options and a little cup here because I want to make several bubbles of different sizes. So we're going to begin by taking the largest circle and kind of towards, this is my right side, and up a little. I'm going to go ahead with my white colored pencil and trace a circle. All right, I got my first one. I'm going to go ahead and make one more of this size, and then we'll start playing around with some smaller sizes. And this is really where your creativity can come in. You can make them wherever you want. Where does the next bubble want to be? I'm trying not to make them overlap. And we're going to be using these bubbles to represent our beliefs and how we can shift and change our beliefs at will. So I put two smaller, and I see I got like a little bit outside the line. I do have an eraser. You can do that also. Remember, little imperfections are part of the artistic journey. Okay, I'm going to make a few smaller ones that kind of show just depth and maybe like that the bubbles are coming this way. All right, so I'm pretty content with my bubble outline so far. And now we're going to actually start with the shading in of the bubbles. I also have a blending tool. You can use your finger or you can use tissue if you're using colored or chalk or oil pastels. I'll show you some cool blending techniques. But very first, I learned that what will make a bubble is the reflection of light that you can represent with your white. So we're going to make what are going to look like rectangles in two areas of kind of opposite sides of our first bubble. Okay, so I really just drew two different rectangles, a little bit like crooked from each other. And then go ahead and we're going to color those in real good with the white. And I'm not coloring them in perfectly. I'm going to kind of like expand out the bottom area of one. You don't want them to look too perfect of a reflection. All right, so there I've started. And then I'm also going to just start going around the edges with my white and just adding a little bit of different reflective color on certain areas. These are the highlights. And then we're also going to imagine like an inner circle because we're trying to make a three-dimensional shape here. So we're going to kind of put a few white accents and also little dots or little lines serve to give it that bubble look. All right, I'm going to hold up that bubble so far, coming to life here. And basically, I'm going to just start, because I have so many bubbles, I'm going to just do this on all my bubbles since I can get that pattern down. Now, I can also take and switch it the direction. So my two rectangles can go another direction. So let's do it like tipping the other way. You can see this one. I'm just doing basically the same thing. It's a little smaller scale because it's a smaller bubble. And make sure you get some highlights on the outside of it. All right, there's my two bubbles so far. I'm just going to proceed and continue with my other bubbles. So I love this idea of creating bubbles when life is feeling really heavy. Create something that is the opposite, right, of how you're feeling. Not to deny your feelings, but to really bring balance to the situation. So you can imagine just the emotional experience that you've had with bubbles. I really don't think anyone can say, gosh, I really have a traumatic experience of playing with bubbles. You know, they're a popular wedding celebration tool for children, for our kids, that we're often just playing with bubbles, right? So they have a very positive connotation with us. So we want to keep with that positive connotation, because in the same way, no belief that we have is negative. No belief is necessarily bad. They just take us to different places. This is something I really believe and I've learned in my life. And if we can kind of step back, this is how you free the captive, which is the title of this. You step back and you observe your beliefs and you observe where they're taking you. And then you decide, do I want to go that direction? Do I want to go that place? And of course, one of the core beliefs I have is that you can change your beliefs. So I'm going to just go ahead and finish up my white accents on my bubbles. Each one's looking a little unique, and that's the idea with art. Nothing needs to look too precise either. I'm kind of doing this very fast. You could take more time with your bubble, or just kind of quickly add these accents, because we're going to get to color too, because bubbles are not fun unless you add color to them. All right, and one more little bubble here. Almost looks like I made a smiley face on this one. All right, so there you have it. There's my bubbles with their white outline so far. And now I'm going to go ahead and move on to adding some color. Let's bring them to life and make them fun. So let's pull out the oil pastels and work with some brighter colors. I think I'm going to use some green and blue for my first one. And you can, make them all rainbow or make a few different colors, whatever you want. So we're going to start here by just on the edges, adding some green. And then I'll show you how I blend. So I actually wrote down some beliefs that I think are common among caregivers and that often come to me that I've had to really evaluate and look at and say, do I like the place where this belief leads me, or is it worth reevaluating? And I will share some with you. Okay, so for my first, you can see how choppy this kind of is with the color. I'm going to go ahead and blend. And be careful that you don't wipe it all off. But I do want to kind of blend the color. And you can also use just colored pencils. I'm going to take a little bit of a brighter color here. Add a little highlight. It helps if you're really sharp with your, but we'll add some white after anyways, so it'll work. All right, I add a little bit of peach color, and maybe I want to add a little bit of purple in some areas to my bubble. Kind of remembering that circle. I can play with that inner circle. And what you're going to want to do is after the color, you're going to want to really darken your highlights and your outer edge. All right, I'm going to blend this a little. All right, so there's more of a colorful bubble. And I'm going to go ahead with the same technique and continue with my other ones, adding some color. So while I do this, I want to share with you some beliefs that I've really examined in myself and challenged myself to release. This is going to be an orange one, orange and yellow one here. All right, the first one is, no one wants to help me. Ooh. That can be a belief that caregivers who feel like they carry the weight of the world can experience. The one thing about beliefs is that as you start to really think about them, believe them, embody them, let's say, you can create that reality. And you will find there are not people to help you because you're not seeing the ones that are coming around to help because you're believing that no one really wants to help you. Okay, I'm just going to use my finger on this in a circular motion with these colors, and then I'm going to redo the accents powerfully. So you could believe that there's no one around to help you, or you could believe that the opposite, that there are people who are interested in helping you, and each one will lead to a different reality, a different experience, not maybe immediately. I mean, we have those ideas sometimes like, oh, no one's here, and it's not like just because we say, yeah, they're here now, they're going to automatically show up. It can take time for that belief to manifest in reality. But we definitely have a better chance of it manifesting if we hold on to it. So there's a kind of an orange speckle. That one's kind of cool. All right, another one. Resources are few and far between. Ooh. How many times as a caregiver have you felt that? One good way of kind of reevaluating that belief is looking at the resources that you've already experienced and appreciate and being really grateful for what's already in your life. I'm going to go ahead and darken this a little. And this one's kind of reddish and pink. So definitely gratitude can help shift where more is attracted, more is coming to you because you're already grateful for the resources that exist. I had this actual experience. I was thinking about how academically I provide a lot for my son, and there's not a whole lot out there that right now, I'm going to keep it with that perspective. Ooh, there's a little bit of highlight. And then into my world came 2 online meetups where my son now has the opportunity to express himself and connect with peers. So I really like how that, if you guys see that I accidentally used this, I'm going to go ahead and use some of this white to add that accent to the ones I've completed. But yeah, I literally experienced it where the minute I was really grateful for the classes that we do already have, 2 more classes appeared to me, and even where we were invited to attend, and it was just like, felt like a miracle. All right, I'm going to keep going with these bubbles. Let's do some different colors. Let's do some darker blues. Blending with my finger here. All right, another belief. My child or loved one doesn't appreciate me. You know, sometimes as a parent, you can feel this. Doesn't matter if your child is neurodivergent or not. You can feel not appreciated as a parent. Is it true that your child doesn't love or appreciate you? Well, I don't know. Some kids are different, so we can't necessarily vouch for that. But what about the belief? Does the belief lead you to a darker place or a happier place? If you don't feel appreciated, you tend to stop giving, stop seeing the ways that you might be appreciated, or your child might be showing you in just a different way, because appreciation is respect expressed differently among different people. So keeping that in mind, ooh, you guys see that? Did I turn it upside down? That little purple one there. So I think the one idea for the bubble is keeping an open mind of how something might show up. One of the other ones I put on here is the help only comes in one way. If we believe that, then what happens is we only look or accept help in that way, and we miss out on the other. That it's happening around us. We're just missing out on it because we're not believing. All right, I'm just having fun here, kind of exploring with the color. There's no right or wrong. I really do like how I can add a little accents with this white. That really came in handy. All right. Let's see, another belief I put down is uncertainty of my child's future causes worry and despair. You know, sometimes we're watching the news or we're watching other people's beliefs and they are portrayed as the ultimate truth. And you have to decide, just because someone else is believing this, does it mean that I have to? I mean, do I have to believe that uncertainty means bad and negative things only await? Sometimes uncertainty is what brings surprise and brings blessings into our life, things that we didn't anticipate. So if we always say uncertainty is bad, we will not be open. And of course, if you're releasing beliefs that really aren't serving, then you're going to be assuming beliefs that are more serving, that do really support the life you want to create. So one thing I wrote down here was that I often feel this world does not value or appreciate neurodivergent loved ones as a whole, and that belief, though it may respond to some truth, also, what if those who do appreciate neurodivergent loved ones, even if smaller in number, it is a more powerful energy than what lies against. So instead of seeing number as the ultimate decision, maybe when people who do value neurodivergency and the uniqueness that our children offer and our loved ones offer the world, maybe they are a really strong front and powerhouse that is just untapped. If we just believe that number is what makes the difference. So there's ways to see yourself as empowered, even if society is telling you you're outnumbered. Which, like I'm saying, we might be. That might be a reality. I was going to add a little bit of accents where I think they would look really nice here. All right, so I've got my bubble art completed. I'm satisfied with the way I blended, with my highlights. Now I really want to create like a door on this side to show that I'm choosing to release these beliefs that don't serve me. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a little slanted just to give some depth. And this one bubble is coming right out the door. So if you want to go ahead and create a rectangle, would be the right or the left side of the paper. I'm making a door. And this is kind of my intention of saying I am releasing beliefs that don't serve me. And I'm thinking about all the possible beliefs that are out there that may be more serving. So I'm just going to add some color to this to make it my own. And let's do some white on the inside there. I'm going to blend these with my finger. All right, so I'm satisfied with my door and my bubble art here. I hope you had fun watching this and joining in if you did. I'm sure yours looks unique, as they should. And this is just a reminder that no belief has to be kept forever. They can be released like bubbles. You can see them more in a lighthearted fashion. You can choose to actively release what's not serving and invite more of what is serving you and your loved one, because there are infinite resources, energetic support, love that has no limit available for us when we believe and we tap into it. All right, have a fantastic weekend.